And our next eminent speaker, Mr. Atul Sharma, is Managing Partner, Link Legal India Law Services, a leading corporate and commercial law firm with offices in Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Chennai and Bengaluru. With over 33 years of experience, he specializes in dispute resolution, that is litigation and arbitration, commercial transaction and compliances including corporate governance, employee and labor matters and infrastructure and projects. And today he is going to present on the sale deed mandate. So please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Atul Sharma.
Good evening. Well, I've been here for about almost in excess of 2 hours. And I must confess that having heard all the business people, I wonder, why do you need a lawyer? When I started, because you know so much of law relating to your businesses. You know your problems. You also probably know your solutions. Well, the topic that has been given to me is rather insipid. And I would try to make it as interesting as I can. As my grey hair would show you that I started practice long years ago. 33 years is not a short time. And when I started practice, we were doing, of course, when I, as a young lawyer, joined a law firm, and we were doing a lot of real estate transactions, of course, despite being a part of a firm which was representing mostly corporates, which was a Calcutta-based firm, which was very well known, one of the oldest. We used to have large number of transactions, but most of those transactions were kind of end user. And what was the best source of a documentation for me as a young lawyer? Believe me, every time I went to the Kashmiri Gate Registrar's office or the Asaf Ali Road Registrar's office, those were the only 2 offices which were there, it was amazing to find the fine art of draftsmanship which was available with the deed writers there. Unbelievable. And mind you, when they drafted those documents, it was not a mere cut and paste job. They were doing it with typewriters. They precisely knew the nuances and the legal principles that go behind each and every clause that they were drafting. It is a sad day that we have landed up in a situation where the art of language and law is completely dead. The problem is that we don't go back to basics. We just want the easy way out to just pick up some draft from somewhere and try to paste it. And I will go back to basics. We are talking of a sale deed. And if you are talking of a sale deed, you are only talking of 2 words: sale and deed. What is a sale? And sale is something which you don't need to invent. It is all defined because you know that your law relating to conveyance of any property, forget movable or immovable, is the Transfer of Property Act. And the Transfer of Property Act very succinctly defines what a sale is. Sale is a transfer of ownership in exchange for a price. It's as simple as that. Now, when we are talking in context of real estate, obviously you are talking in context of immovable property. Well, the law there is also very clear. You all know that the Transfer of Property Act mandates that you must transfer immovable property through a registered document, registered under the Registration Act after paying the requisite stamp duty. But what is a document? Can you have a sale deed on top of which what is written is a partnership deed? Surely you can, because you might have any title on top of the document, but what is relevant is what is contained and what is the substance and substance and the content of the document. Deed is something which we all use: sale deeds, conveyance deeds, transfer deeds, day in, day out. But what is a deed? Deed is an act. It's simple English. I mean, there don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand that what is a deed. Deed is an act. And therefore, a distinction between an agreement and a deed is so relevant, which you always forget. Deed is an irrevocable act of transferring a property. It is only in the last 15 to 20 years that we have started having sale deeds which are not unilateral, which are bilateral or trilateral, depending on the number of sellers and the buyers. Deed is a conveyance, and conveyance is the concept of law. And the conveyance is defined under the Stamp Act. It is nowhere else defined. So when you talk of conveyance, when you talk of deed, you are talking of an irrevocable act of giving to somebody. Do you ever hear somebody saying gift deed is a gift agreement? A gift deed is a deed. It's deed done and dusted. But why we have started this practice of having all the parties to the deed, the buyer being a party, putting his signature to it, putting his photographs to it? It is all that everything that we have done in the real estate sector in the last 30 years is not driven by law. It is driven by mischiefs that have come into the whole system. There is no requirement of any photographs being put on the document. At the end of the day, a buyer is not going to challenge that I have not got this property. It is only the seller who is going to say that I have not conveyed this property. If we start looking at the regime, I mean, it doesn't, and we don't need to go beyond our Transfer of Property Act. If we see the Transfer of Property Act, as I said, sale is defined in section 54. 55 of the same act, the following section, very categorically says what are the rights and obligations of a seller and a buyer. So where do we need to look at to actually draft a document? Section 55 is a guide in itself, and I will not waste your time in going through it, but I'll give you a simple illustration of what does 55 here say. 55 says the seller is bound to disclose to the buyer any material defect. When you see in a sale deed, it's nothing but say, I hold out, I make a representation that this property is clear of all encumbrances, there's no sale, court case, etc., etc. To produce all the documents for the buyer, to answer to its best information all relevant questions on payment or tender of the amount due in respect to the price, to execute a proper conveyance, between the date of the contract of sale and delivery of the property, to take such much care of the property, to give on being so required the buyer or such person as directs such possession on the property. And it goes on. Therefore, what is required to be incorporated in the document is not something which is alien, which is all part of the law. But unfortunately, what we do is, we tend to pick up standard documents and try to save the effort. The difficulty is that today, in this whole system of real estate, the number of stakeholders has increased multiform. Kind of large number of stakeholders have come into existence, including the taxation authorities, including the state governments, including the stamp duty authorities, including the registrar. The whole problem arose, and if you recall, there used to be a section called 269 UC, which required that you need, beyond an income tax department's permission for transactions above a certain value, you needed Form 34A. So this whole problem has arisen because the taxation and the revenue authorities have taken this, and I was hearing that with a lot of interest in the previous session, that the whole rigmarole of this mess which has been created is driven by revenue authorities. What is very important is to understand the distinction between ownership, title, and transfer. Title necessarily includes ownership, and therefore a title search has become the most key component of a real estate transaction. It has been there, not now, ever since, and now it has become more complex because you have started having a lot of land laws, you started having a lot of limitations on how you use the land. There are a lot of limitations in terms of the chains of the ownerships, and of course the laws relating to revenue, which the hardcore revenue laws, which you call as, creation of rights as bhumidars, etc., etc. But an agreement is surely not a conveyance or a sale. I'm sure all of you are aware of the Supreme Court's judgment in the case of Suraj Lamps. Now, where they try to draw a distinction between an agreement to sell and a sale deed. They say, on the basis of an agreement to sell, you cannot have your property mutated. Now, it's a very dichotomous situation. Income Tax Act recognizes agreement to sell and power of attorneys. The law relating to creation of special purpose vehicles, particularly the unincorporated joint venture entities, are recognized as association of persons by the Income Tax Act. But then the Supreme Court comes out with a case where they say that an agreement to sell coupled with the power of attorney and a will not be ownership. Technically, yes, that is the correct legal position, because under an agreement to sell, what you are giving is a part performance. So therefore, if I am an agreement to sell holder, I am the buyer, the prospective buyer, in whose favor the seller has agreed to execute a sale deed in future. I have acquired a right to be in possession if it is given under the agreement, and that possession can be protected. But I cannot seek a declaration to title. That's a distinction. So can I go to a court and say that I am the owner of this property? No, because I am still holding an agreement and I only have those rights. So therefore, the distinction between a title and a transfer, what can be transferred is a right. What can be transferred? A de facto ownership. But if you really want to transfer a de jure ownership, then it has to be by way of a title transfer, which can only be through a sale deed. So that's a distinction which we usually forget, and especially when you are doing bulk documentation as developers, you always tend to overlook all these nuances of law. Another very significant part of ownership coupled with title is the bankability of the documents. It is so very important to ensure that the documents are drafted in a manner that the title flows absolutely unambiguously, because at the end of the day that document has to be bankable. Now, in the context of SPVs, the bankability could be at the project financing level as well. I did a transaction relating to where ILFS in fact took a stake, and there were 3 developers in the NCR region, and it was such a complex transaction that we really had to resort a lot of structuring in order to ensure that the documents are not only bankable but are enforceable, and the security creation is such that it gives the least problems at the time of enforcement. So therefore, what is very critical is that document is going to be the basis of your securitization. And if you are not able to present a bankable document, you run the biggest risk of your project not even getting funded. So it is so very important to understand that what are the nuances, what are the legalities that you really need to look into while drafting a sale deed, a conveyance deed, even a flat buyer agreement for that matter. Because at the end of the day, it's only an agreement that's going to ultimately translate into a transaction which will lead to the transfer of the title on some future date. So these are some of the things which I thought I could really discuss with you. There are a large number of other issues which you can discuss, but that will be an endless exercise. But what is very significant is that we must understand the Grundnorm. The Grundnorm is what is the nature of the land, how it is flowing, how you can perfect the title, and how you can really make the document which is going to be the basis of the survival of that project as the benchmark for its bankability is certainly, because you need to understand what is the nature of the land. Is it freehold? It's a very funny situation. Now that I've come to freehold, this whole Supreme Court judgment has created a very funny situation. Now what the Supreme Court says, a power of attorney coupled with the will and the agreement to sell is not at ownership, and no authority will mutate the property in your name. But surprisingly, the DDA continues to convert the leasehold properties into freehold on the basis of this chain of documents. The difficulty is that we just try to plug one loophole and then leave 20 others. It's only because it is all knee-jerk reaction. We just want to react to things rather than keeping it very, very basic and simple. Thank you so much.